Good morning. Welcome to this Unitarian Universalist Church, which includes our congregations in Birmingham and Tuscaloosa and all of our folks online. Welcome to the Climate Justice Revival Worship Service. Yes, thank you. We are so glad we have entered and come into this place of rejoicing. This morning we are doing things a little bit differently. Over the past few weeks, congregations all over the country have been coming together for a time of renewal and recommitment at the intersection of the climate crisis and the deep justice commitments of our congregation. Together, we can move past systems and cultures of extraction to usher in a new era with love and justice at the center. We protect what we love. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are today on your spiritual journey, and wherever you are on their spiritual journey, you are welcome here. To all who are here this morning, welcome home. Before we begin with the prelude, I ask that you go ahead and start thinking of what your hopes are in regards to climate, what you wish you could make happen, what actionable items you could take. The prelude prepares us for worship. Please rise in body or spirit for the lighting of the chalice. Our chalice lighting this morning comes from the Reverend Megan Foley, Deputy Director for Congregational Life at the Unitarian Universalist Association. When Unitarian Universalists try to light our challenge, we are doing more than moving a bit of flame from a little stick onto our favorite candle. When Unitarian Universalists light our challenges, we are showing the world what happens when we harness the power of fire. Fire is one of our world's most sacred elements, perhaps because it always causes change. Fire warms and feeds, destroys and eliminates. With a bit of attention and care, fire works with us to reveal, to show, literally to illuminate. Fire helps us to see and to survive, and so fire is an especially sacred symbol today at our climate justice revival because we are in need of change. We are in need of warmth and sustenance, and we need the light for a clear new path for ourselves and for the world around us. May this cup of captured flame be a symbol today of our passion, our care, our brilliance in the face of great need. Like fire, we are powerful. Like fire, we can create change. May it be so. In the spirit of inclusivity and welcome, please greet those around you, especially those you may not recognize. Folks online, please make sure to greet each other in the chat.
Please rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn, number 175. Please rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn, number 175 in the hardcover hymnal.
Good morning. I'm Marcia Mansell with the Earth Justice team. Is that a little better? I'm reading you words from Rachel Mislivy, who is the Climate Justice Strategist for the Side with Love Organizing Strategy Team at the Unitarian Universalist Association. Climate justice is racial justice, gender justice, disability justice, mental health justice. It is about LGBTQIA plus justice, earth justice, and much more. When we provide safe housing for the trans teen rejected by their parents, living without shelter from climate disasters, when we offer sanctuary for our neighbors forced from their homes by climate disruption, when we open our doors as emergency shelters, when we advocate for labor protections for people working in the extreme heat, when we fiercely defend our ecosystems, our water, our soils, our air, saving them not just for the privileged few, but for all of our beloved communities. When we root our climate commitments in those challenging realities, love grounds us. Love is at the center of the climate strategy. It connects when we realize that even as the root causes are inextricably linked, so too must be our solutions. When we refuse to overlook climate injustice, when we shift from me and mine to we and ours, when we understand our interdependence, when we know in our bodies that the work is more than technical and that there are solutions other than for those who can just afford solar and electric cars, when we advocate for clean energy, clean water, clean air as our human rights, as our nature rights, as earth rights, love connects us all.
Good morning.
I'm Amber Jackson, member of the board.
I'm Lily.
Our church is supported by those who call our church home, and by those who support the efforts of our church to change our world for the better. If this is your first time with us, please pass the plate. We're just glad that you're here. We share a cash plate every Sunday with organizations whose work reflects UU values to care for the marginalized persons, advocate for real and systemic change, defend our environment, and promote justice and equity for all. Today we are sharing our plate with our siblings and congregations throughout North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida who suffered devastation through Helene and Milton hurricanes through the UU Disaster Relief Fund. The Disaster Relief Fund helps to repair homes and churches devastated by natural disasters. We are recipients of this fund as we applied to give some relief to Selma after the tornado that devastated the area. Please give generously to support our fellow UUs affected by these climate change-related disasters. We appreciate your donations, either by placing them in the plate, by mailing your donation to the church, or by using PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle. More information is found in the order of service in the lower right corner.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright, blessed day, the dark, sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Marks for my shoe squeaking. I'm fortunate enough to be able to to not only be a worship associate today, but to also do the special readings for National Native American Heritage Month. Both of the poems today are written by Alexander Posey, born August 3rd, 1873. A Muskogee Creek poet, journalist, and humorist, Posey is known for his poems and Fus Fixico letters, a series of satirical letters written from his fictional persona that commented on local and national politics at the time. On the hills of the dawn, 1910, behold, the morning glory's sky blue cup is mine wherewith to drink the nectar up. That morning spills of silver dew and songs upon the winds that woo and sigh their vows among the boughs. Behold, I'm rich in diamonds rare and pearls, and I breathe a golden air. My room is filled with shattered beams of life. My life is one of dreams in my hut on the hills of dawn. And then the call of the wild. I'm tired of the gloom in a four-walled room. Heart weary, I sigh for the open sky and the solitude of the greening wood, where the bluebirds call and the sunbeams fall and the daisies lure the soul to be pure. I'm tired of the life and the ways of strife. Heart weary, I long for the river's song and the murmur of rills in the breezy hills, where the pipe of Pan, that hairy half-man, the bright silence breaks by the sleeping lakes. Now is that time in our community when we share what we carry with us on this day, joy or sorrow. For those of you online, please share yours in the online chat, and remember to hold others by placing parentheses around their name. For those of you in person, not only are you invited to come up and drop a stone in honor or memory of what is on your heart today, but we also ask that as you are willing and able, you come up and you get a cutout leaf from this basket right here, and with that hope, that joy, that wish for the future I asked you to think about, you pin it on our beautiful tree of hopes and dreams. Our intention is that when we look at this, as we place the leaves on, it will be a reminder of all that we can achieve as a community and as a congregation, individual leaves creating a beautiful tree. Please come forward. Today, we lift up Marilyn Carrata, who is at home recovering from surgery. There is a meal tray set up for her. The link for that is in your order of service. We also continue to lift up Patty Falconberry, who is in the hospital. She welcomes cards and visits. If you need her information, I'm sure you could ask our lovely directory team to help you get that information. Please join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation, followed by a moment of silence. Our meditation this morning was written by Thich Nhat Hanh. It's an excerpt from his 10 letters to the earth. At this very moment, the earth is above you, below you, all around you, and even inside you. The earth is everywhere. You may be used to thinking of the earth as only the ground beneath your feet, but the water, the sea, the sky, and everything around us comes from the earth. Everything outside us and everything inside us comes from the earth. We often forget that the planet we are living on has given us all the elements that make up our bodies. The water in our flesh, our bones, and all the microscopic cells inside our bodies all come from the earth and are part of the earth. The earth is not just the environment we live in. We are the earth, and we are always carrying her within us. Realizing this, we can see that the earth is truly alive. We are a living, breathing manifestation of this beautiful and generous planet. Knowing this, we can begin to transform our relationship to the earth. We can begin to walk differently and to care for her differently. We will fall completely in love with the earth. When we are in love with someone or something, there is no separation between ourselves and the person or thing we love. We do whatever we can for them, and this brings us great joy and nourishment. That is the relationship each of us can have with the earth. That is the relationship each of us must have with the earth if the earth is to survive, and if we are to survive as well. If we think about the earth as just the environment around us, we experience ourselves and the earth as separate entities. We may see the planet only in terms of what it can do for us. We need to recognize that the planet and the people on it are ultimately one and the same. Now, please pause for a moment of silence. Amen, and blessed be.
Will the children please come forward, and anyone else that feels like a child today or every day? Hi, everybody. Welcome. So I'm going to share one of my favorite stories with you today, and I hope it becomes one of your favorite stories. And kind of like all stories, I'm going to ask us to do something together for 10 seconds. Are you ready? Okay. And grown-ups, you have to do this too. We are going to create silence. Long, long ago. You're right. But you know what? We did it. We did it for 10 seconds. So now we're ready for a story, I hope. Thank you. So long, long ago, and not that far away, there lived the Numunu people. That was the name they had given themselves. They were the people of the earth. Their enemies gave them a name that we might recognize, the Choctaw. But Choctaw actually means enemy. So they didn't call themselves that. They called themselves the Numunu. Well, these people were going through a terrible drought. That means there was no rain. Did you know that? Yes. You know the story? Okay, it's a really important word. It's when there's no rain, and if there's no rain, then the rivers don't flow, and the creeks dry up, and the crops don't thrive, and then people and animals don't have things to eat. So the Numunu people sent the elders of their tribe up to the highest hill. And they danced, and they sang, and they drummed, and they prayed for 3 days and 3 nights. And they asked the great Creator, what is it? Why is there no rain? How can we bring the rain back? Please help us. Well, the great Creator answered their prayers and said, you have been selfish. You have not taken care of the earth. You have not taken care of the creatures on the earth, and you have not taken care of each other. So I ask of you a great sacrifice. I ask you to sacrifice your most valuable possession. So the elders came down and they gathered the whole tribe together and they told everyone what the great Creator had said. And night was falling, and people wandered off into their teepees. And the great warriors who had made their bows and arrows said, oh, the great Creator would never ask for our bows and arrows. We use those to protect everyone. And the women who wove the blankets said, the great Creator would not ask for our blankets. We work so hard. And the potters who made the bowls that everyone ate out of said, not that. How would we eat? But there was one girl, much like a lot of you. She was young. I hope not like you. She was alone. Her parents had died long ago, and the only thing that she had from them was a doll. Her father had sewn the buckskin, and her mother had gathered blueberries to make paint and had painted the face on the doll. This girl was never seen without her doll. It was beloved to her. And she thought, that's what the great Creator wants. But I don't know if I have the courage to give up my doll. So she waited till everyone was asleep in their teepees and she could hear them snoring. And she went to the last fire and she gathered a stick that was still burning at the end. And she walked with the stick and her doll up to that high hill. She found some other twigs that were dry and made a fire. And she hugged her doll. And she thought of her mother and her father and how much she had loved them and how much they loved her. And before she could change her mind, she threw her doll in the fire. Well, that was her sacrifice. And after the ashes had cooled, she threw some to the east and some to the west and some to the south and some to the north. And she fell asleep on the hill next to the remains of the fire. Well, this girl had never been to the ocean, but in her dream that night, everything was blue and lush and alive. And when she woke up in the morning, she thought, oh, thank you, great Creator, what a beautiful dream. And then she looked around, and all she could see was blue. And she wiped her eyes again because she thought she was still in her dream. But she wasn't. The great Creator had answered her prayers, and across the hill country was blue and a light rain was falling. And the people down below were waking up, and they came running up to the hill, and they said, "Thank you, great Creator, thank you. The rain has returned. The earth is coming back to life." And then they saw the girl, and they saw that she did not have her doll. And they saw the remains of the fire, and they realized what she had done for them. And they gathered around her, and they changed her name from She Who Stands Alone to She Who Loves Her People Very Much. And to this day, every springtime in the hill country of Texas, the bluebonnet bloom in honor of this girl who loved her people very much. The end. Okay. Thank you. All right. Let's sing these beautiful people downstairs.
Search for what is true. 5, all people get a vote. 6, religious and peaceful world. 7, we take care of the earth. That will bring us back to me and you too. Well, as Kylie told us, this is our Climate Justice Revival service. We had a great time yesterday. We had some really wonderful presenters here, and it was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it, and I hope we can do it again next year. And the theme of this revival is reimagining together, to reimagine our future from an extractive age to a new era. Reimagining, one of those words. Can anybody think of a word that goes along with reimagining, that starts with re? Can you think of some of those words? Renew. Reproduce. Reinvent. Realign. Recreate. Revision. There's a whole bunch of them. Yes. Revival, rebirth, reawakening, reimagining, renew, restore, revitalize, rekindle, refresh, resurrect. And one of my favorites that go along with that is Renaissance. And this is our Renaissance. This is our beginning, our renewal, our revival. And it begins with what the ancient Greeks called metanoia, a change. Just like fire changes all things in nature. Change from a penitence to a spiritual conversion. I am a retired public middle school teacher, and I taught 6th graders for many years. And my goal as a teacher was I always wanted to teach to the heart. I always wanted to say, I wanted my lessons to touch kids. I wanted them to learn through the heart. And I wanted them to be informed through their hearts. You know, when we learn something, when we really know something, when we memorize something, we have a saying. We say, I know it by heart. We don't say, I know it by brain. Because when it comes into our hearts is when it changes us. It's when we have this new knowledge, and this new knowledge makes us a new person in a new way. We have been revived. We have been renewed. And we've experienced this thing called metanoia. This renewal, this revival is with us every day when the sun comes up. It's a new day, a new beginning. And that's a joyful thing. It's something to rejoice in. The world is always renewing itself. As we begin our own renewal, our own renaissance in this new era that we must start to begin. The two biggest reasons that I'm involved in this movement are my daughters, Tressa and Mary. And just like parents here, just like you who are parents, I want the best for my girls. And I think about my role as their father and my responsibilities. And just like you, I want the best for them. And I want them to have a good life. And I want to give them what they can have to a good life. And yes, things like, to provide for them to begin their lives is important. But it's also important to give them a world that is beautiful, a world that they can enjoy, a world that is healthy. When I was a kid, we spent all day Saturday in the summertime or out in the fields and that kind of thing. And one of my favorite memories, my best memories, was when I was a kid with my best friend Dan Fiorenzo. There was this hickory tree in the fall time that we would sit under. And we would sit under there for hours and we would crack open hickory nuts with rocks and we would pick out the meat of the hickory nuts and we would eat it. And it's one of my favorite memories. I can smell those hickory nuts right now. And my mother, she thought it was great. We were out in the fresh air, and it's nice to be outside. But you know, the air isn't fresh anymore. We live in a time when the air quality alerts and heat indexes are advising people to stay indoors because it's unhealthy to be outside. In 2022, the American Lung Association made a report that they call the State of the Air. And they ranked Birmingham, Alabama as the 39th most polluted city in our country from ozone pollution. They gave us an F rating for our air pollution, ozone pollution. They also track short-term spikes in particle pollution, which are extremely dangerous and oftentimes lethal for some people. Birmingham ranks among the nation's worst in particle pollution in the entire country. It is the third worst air pollution in the Southeast. This is not a healthy place to be. And this is not the world that I want for my children. I get my electricity, like all of us, from Alabama Power, from the Miller Power Plant just the west of here, about 10 miles. According to the EPA, in 2023, that power plant released almost 17 million tons of greenhouse gas into the atmosphere in 1 year. More greenhouse gas than any other power plant, any factory, refinery, or other industrial facility in the country. It is the dirtiest power plant in North America. And that is where we get our electricity. This is not the place or the world that I want for my children. Coal ash is the toxic waste that remains after coal is burned. It contains high concentrations of heavy metals, mercury, arsenic, selenium, chromium, lead that is harmful to human health, wildlife, and our waterways. Across Alabama, there are coal pits with 117 million tons, 117 million tons of coal ash in 9 pits in 9 different locations that the EPA has said are violating with over 50 groundwater violations. Alabama Power, TVA, Power South, they own these unlined pits, and they're leaking. They're unlined, and they leak into our waterways. This is not the world I want for my children. But what can I do? I'm just one little man. And I live in this world. I buy my electricity from Alabama Power. I drive a gas-powered car. I buy stuff. We live in this world. I put my trash out every week and close my eyes. I know it's ending up in a landfill. And I say, well, I'll try to do better next week. What do I do with all this stuff? What do I do with the old mattress that I've replaced? Where does it go? What do you do with this stuff? I don't want to live in an out-of-sight, out-of-mind world. We live in 2 worlds. We live in this world that we're born into. And we also live in a world that we can't imagine. And that is the world that I want to work toward. Yes, we have lots of slogans like live simply so others can simply live, and think globally, act locally, and conserve what your children deserve, and these kind of things. But how do we do that? Those are nice reminders. And so that's what this is about. This is a renaissance for us to start taking action and moving toward the world that we envision and what we want to see for our children and future generations. I listened to a sermon from a UU minister named Molly House Gordon, and she said, the way we truly survive is by investing in all of the alternatives that starve the extractive community. The way we survive is by finding small daily ways to live the world we seek to create. It is as simple and as difficult as that. Wherever you can, fight the extractive community. Demand its dismantlement at the seats of power. Find small daily ways to starve it where you live. And then wherever you can, join that community. And that is how we survive. It is how life survives. We tear down the walls. We grow roots from another way inside the world that is crumbling. The secret is that you don't get a break to build a better world. You have to do it while still surviving in this one. At our congregational meeting in June, we, you and me, all of us, we voted unanimously to join an ambitious environmental movement of climate justice through the UUA that seeks to live fully our principles and achieve our vision of a sustainable and just world for all. This movement is called Green Sanctuary 2030, and we are a part of it, along with over 100 other UU churches around the country. This campaign started about 35 years ago, actually, so we're a little late to the party, but that's okay. We're part of it. And the Environmental Justice Task Force has been working and brainstorming of ideas that we want to achieve and what we can do. We started by, on our own campus here, this 13-acre campus that we have, by cutting down the invasive species, the Bradford pears and the different plants and things like that, cleaning up the nature trails so we have a trail to walk through to look at this beautiful land that we have around us. We want to replace the styrofoam and the plastic in the kitchen with permanent dishes and silverware. We want to get our recycling program reinvigorated. We want to renew our composting bins. We want to rebuild our gardening spaces. And we also want to have long-term goals of reducing our energy costs and redirecting toward a sustainable energy sources. And there are organizations in the country that can help us do that. And so this weekend is our beginning. This is our revival. This is our renaissance. We hope you found this weekend a time of joy and happiness and friendship, for hope, for strength and courage. This isn't a time of doom and gloom. It's a time to look forward. This is a time to share all that we can do to make a better future. And we hope that you can renew your lifestyles. I know I want to renew mine. The world is ending and it's beginning, as it always has. And we are beginning now. We are survivors. And we must do this. And we will know what to do by letting our hearts lead us. Thank you.
Please rise in body or spirit and join in our closing hymn, number 1064 in the teal hymnal, number 1064. Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harm nor port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in a beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor nor port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
You may be seated. If you have a special announcement to share, please come forward at this time. Today, directly after the service, Music Share is having an information meeting in the Volker Room. November 24th is our bread communion, and it is also the last day to order bread for the joint UUCT and UUCB fundraiser. Orders will be delivered here on December 15th. Also on November 24th, it is the 70th anniversary planning meeting after service. We would love to see you there. UUCB and UUCT, as well as our online folks, are invited to join Faith in Action for their annual Lament and Hope Memorial Ride as we celebrate the lives of those we have lost due to gun violence in Birmingham. This will take place on December 14th, beginning at 7:30, and I will have more information in the coming weeks on this. A huge thank you to everyone who came out for our climate revival yesterday. It is the hope of the Environmental Justice Task Force to continue to connect with local organizations, engage individuals and families in actionable ways that can reduce their carbon footprint and mitigate climate change, all while calling for change at the local, state, and national levels. We will ask that you all keep an eye out for our next collaboration or event and make plans to attend and then continue to support us with our goal of Green Sanctuary 2030. Who wants to go first? All right, come on.
Hey, hello everybody. Patty and I are here to draw for a door prize. Anyone who has checked their information in the directory, our table is over here. We're going to draw a name this week and next week, but before we do that, I just have a couple of notes about the directory project. First of all, we're doing this to connect everybody and so we can all grow our community and strengthen our community, obviously. That's why we're all here, I think. And the other thing I want to say is about the safety. I'm concerned about the fact that we have a QR code in the directory, so I asked about that. And the QR code is just for last week and this week. After that, it's going to be disabled, and having access to the directory is going to be invitation only through the office. So you can feel good about putting your information in the directory this week, and it'll be private going forward. So the way to get entered into the drawing for next week is to come by the table and check your information to see that it's correct in the directory, or use the QR code on the slip of paper that's in your order of service today.
And then show us.
Yeah, and show us that you updated it. Micah, Drew, and Artemis are going to be here to help you with the QR code and the app, because it's kind of tricky, not as straightforward as one would hope that an app would be. We're going to be working on those glitches. So without further ado.
Very good. Today's drawing, the winner will have a choice of a 18-year-old bottle of mini Tuscan wine, and it was donated by Ben Mazzara. Everybody remember Jackie, who used to be a longtime member? Anyway, and the other item that you can pick from is honey that came from Paul Mansell's beehive, and I think it's probably award-winning honey. I'm not sure. At any rate, so who wants to draw for me? This is all the names. Oh, you have to be present to win. It's Jeffrey Tucker. Is Jeffrey here? Dang. Okay, we'll put it in. He might win next week. Yeah. Just leave it. All right, you want to draw again? I know, that's okay. We told everybody. Sue Marcos, is Sue here? I know she was here last week. Dang, okay. All right, number 3, Dick Segreto. Again, I know Dick was here last week. I haven't seen him. All right. Yeah. Thank you. John Parker. Again, John was here last week. All right. get Marcia to draw. Marcia, draw somebody that's here. Brooke Carnes. All right, the deciding moment. Honey, pomade, or wine? Okay, so next week, this is the winner. This is going to be the winner's gift.
Sorry about that, guys. All right. So I'm here with a reminder for November the 24th is Friendsgiving. I've had a lot of interest boil up from this, so there's probably going to be a lot of people who have not been here before that are going to be using this for somewhere to find fellowship. So it'll be at 12:30 following that Sunday service. So make sure to bring a dish. If you can't bring a dish, or you're usually a person who gets asked to bring the silverware to Thanksgiving, feel free doing that. Or you can always do a soda, a tea, just something that we have plenty of stuff for everybody, because this is going to be a really big event. It's going to let people know that we are here. It's going to give our people somewhere to go, because a lot of us don't have anywhere to go for the holiday season. So let's make sure our community has somewhere.
Good morning. The Justice Committee is sponsoring Christmas Box Ministries for those of you who like to support children and Christmas gifts. Greater Birmingham Ministries is attempting to serve 100 families. Children age 4 to 12, we're looking for new toys or clothing items, also gift cards, and they are also accepting non-perishable food items. So starting next week for 3 Sundays, we'll have a place in the Narthex if you'd like to participate in Christmas Box Ministries. We'll also put some lists of ideas into the all-church email and the bulletin next week. So thanks very much.
Just wanted to share that sometime this week we'll also be sharing a list with a QR code and a list of things that you can do to help the earth. So if you're having trouble thinking of things that you as an individual could do, we will be sending out some ideas. So be on the lookout for that email. Thanks.
Knowing how quickly the flame of truth may be extinguished, how easily the chalice of fellowship broken, let us be vigilant in faith, keep peace in our hearts, and make care for one another, the watchword of our lives together. So our light goes out everywhere into the world. Our light goes out everywhere healing and hope are needed. Let us go in peace to love and serve this world and one another.